Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, where each week you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and their staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom, located in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. For those of you who may be listening for the first time to this weekly show, during the hour we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today we're going to start off the show talking to Rob Lane. Do you go by Rob or Robert?
Oh, Rob.
Rob, I thought that's what you did. Who's we called him the newish CEO at Arc of Maui. And newish because he's been here about a year and a half, huh?
That's right, just about a year and a half now.
That's long enough to thaw out from Minnesota.
That's it. You need at least a good 12, if not 18 months.
Sorry, Minnesota, we had to throw that in there because that's where I kind of came from too. And I keep watching the weather in the paper to see what if it's cracking 80 or whatever.
Right.
You know, but they had it kind of early this year, so they got to watch out. This fall could be nasty.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's the only place I know of that you can go from snow in 1 week to 90 degrees a couple weeks later.
Right.
So it's short springs and short falls.
Yeah.
And don't blink your eyes or it's gone.
I can remember trying to water ski on the lake that I lived on Mother's Day.
Oh.
And we were avoiding pieces of ice.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Small icebergs.
Yes, that was a very interesting excursion. Anyway, getting back to what we're here for, Arc of Maui, a fairly new member to the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. We're glad to have you on board.
Oh, thank you.
And why don't you just kind of give us a general overview of what Arc does here on Maui?
Sure. Well, ARC has been here in Maui County since 1954. Originally, it was established by a group of concerned parents and citizens that were looking for opportunities that weren't readily available for children and adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities. So, having not been there, they decided to go ahead and form an organization that ultimately became ARC of Maui County. Throughout the years, that's morphed into more of your mainstream community integration programs, residential services, and vocational services as well. Our community integration or community support services have three main components. There's an adult day health, which is a group setting where clients will get together for group activities. They'll go on outings. They'll participate in community events. They'll do things that will bolster their body, mind, and spirit, both collectively and individually. There are also activities called personal assistant, PA services, that are individualized. In these services, the clients are paired up with fully trained staff personnel that assist them in meeting their individualized program goals. So those program goals can be anything from daily living skills to community integration, navigating their way through understanding how to interact with people that they might not have otherwise had those experiences in their past. So that our staff work with them and just make sure that we, in the upfront, have those goals identified with the team, the individual, the client, their family members, case manager, and then throughout the course of the year, make sure that we're striving towards achieving those. The third component of the community support is respite, and that's just giving the families a break, allowing them to take a break, take a vacation, coordinate services so that if they need to be gone for 24 hours or a weekend or a week, that we provide services so we can cover that for the families. The other component that we provide services for our clients is housing. we are the largest provider of residential services on the outer islands, and ARC provides two different types of services. We provide services that are called intermediate care facilities, ICF facilities, and domiciliary services. But the bottom line for both of them are that we basically provide residential services to folks that otherwise wouldn't have a place to stay. Individuals with developmental disabilities that need a level of care in order to live a full, healthy, enriched lives. So we provide that care on a 24/7 basis. And the third component that we provide services to for our clients is our employment. And in that, we provide pre-vocational supported employment and micro-enterprise. The pre-vocational is just what it sounds like. We help our clients work on skills and abilities that would allow them to enrich their opportunities to find a job or to keep a job. Everything from, basic skills in some of our Piñata, which I saw you had an article earlier where we worked with one of Piñatas, our local restaurant, and that's a great example of both community integration and pre-vocational activities where our clients are having the opportunity to work towards making a product, selling a product, earning a little bit of money as a result of it. Supported employment is where our staff will go out in the community with our clients and will help them as they've either find a job or once they have a job, be there to make sure that we reduce the barriers around that position so that they can be successful in it. So however those barriers might present themselves, our staff are going to be there to work with the employer to make sure that they can stay employed, gainfully employed, and that's our goal, is to just be there and support them in that. And then the micro enterprise is really a new, exciting opportunity that we're just really getting off the ground at ARC, and that is to develop new business opportunities for our clients to really start and grow their own micro enterprises, their own small businesses. And we really see this as the wave of the future for a lot of our clients because, here in Maui, there's, everybody's got some sort of a small business. They're
Right.
selling something. So in our clients, they have so many just wonderful abilities and talents that if we can provide them the supports they need to bring those out, that I do believe we're going to be able to have a number of them establish some small businesses that are going to be a year from now really out there in the community in ways that are going to allow them to be making some money and, again, having that community integration piece. So, that's what it's all about for us in all three of these categories, is just, supporting our clients in any way we can to make their daily lives as rich and fulfilled as possible.
I can imagine that when you start talking to them about the micro enterprise side, you get some really interesting ideas from them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Some you can talk about, some you can't.
Right. Yeah, some of them are a little bit out there, but how many of us haven't had some of those thoughts ourselves? But our piñatas are a great example of something that started off as a pre-vocational idea, and now we have a handful of clients that are really at the point where we could develop, work with them to establish a cooperative where it could be a standalone business for 4 or 5 clients, where they could order the products, the raw products themselves, put together the piñatas themselves, deliver them, and sell, in effect, sell them to the businesses, both for the examples that we have already set up, Ben Franklin and Piñata's restaurant, sell them to them, and basically be self funding right away because
Yeah.
they've worked on these skills already, and it's something that's already that they're proving. The proof of concept has already been established.
Right. Well, it's almost like an assembly line here that in this article that I was looking at earlier. One guy's taping a box, one that's going to become a fish-shaped piñata, while two other people add fringe, etc. And then we've got taco-shaped toys. Wow. I mean, there's something for everybody. And so if you have somebody who can kind of be the organizer of this, as you say, you can have 4 or 5 individuals working on a product. And now, it was interesting in the story, the owner of piñatas, or of Las Piñata, says that he used to buy them from Mexico.
Right.
And now here we have them right here for him.
Yeah.
And he loves that because he can just keep the money right here in Maui County.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime, we can have any of our products that are truly Maui made, I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. But if you go a step further and they're made by individuals with special needs, I mean, what a wonderful, full circle where this becomes something that everybody that's involved in it is winning. I mean, they're great products. It's a great opportunity for the business owner. It's a great opportunity for our clients. So, and that, that's just one example. We're our new group home that we can touch on in a little bit here, but we're opening a new group home in Waihu, which will be a 4-bedroom home. That's on an acre of land, and one of the opportunities there with this property will be able to establish micro enterprises that will center around farm and gardening and doing a variety of things with each of our clients that would be interested having their own raised garden beds, or just having their own Hawaiian chilies or bananas or papayas, or and those types of things, and then being able to bring them to the farmers market and selling them themselves.
I think I hear some hot sauce coming.
That's right. I know my sons have already signed up for that, so they go through it like nobody's business.
Interesting. Well, let's double back a little bit and start at the top. When we talked about the first few items under the community support, the ARC Day Health program, what age group are we talking about here?
Yep, so ARC does provide services for children through adulthood. Primarily, we've been serving adults, but we do provide services in the community to children, and that happens just more so on an as-needed basis. But we can provide services to anybody that has that developmental disabilities, intellectual disabilities need. That our goal is, again, just to make sure that we're just providing services to anybody that has need, and their families are looking for services. Currently we have about 49 clients that are in the community supports section, and that grows all the time. Some folks move on, go get different services, or migrate off island, and then we find some new clients come to us. But our main focus there is just to make sure we tailor make our services to meet their needs.
So as I'm hearing this, there's parents can call on you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get anybody referred from a school where somebody just really can't cut it? Or do parents usually know before the kids get in school that, or maybe even while they're in school, they learn this isn't going to be right for them?
Right. So we don't work with the Department of Education directly, but what we do is generally after school services. So a young child or an adolescent that has services through the Department of Education would receive services, and then anything after school is where we would step in and we'd provide those, like for example the personal assistant services. That's where we would focus our skills on whatever their needs were. So we wouldn't be in substitution of the school and what they would provide. It would be kind of in supplement to in those after school hours. So a lot of times what we find in families where they have a child with special needs is that the needs of that child and the goals for them, surpass what the families can provide just on their own. And so we step in and we work with the families and the case manager to identify those. And then, there's a set number of hours per week that the Department of Health allots. And they say, okay, well, this individual, it looks like they need, 2 or 3 hours per day, Monday through Friday, and then 5 hours Saturday and Sunday. And so based on those hours and the goals, that's where our staff would work with the clients and their families on meeting those goals.
I see. Now, is you're funded? You were talking earlier about grants. You're funded by grants. You're funded by some state funding, obviously through the DOE or through vocational side.
Right. So we get our funding through federal and state reimbursements that come through our billing for services. So majority of our funds come directly through our billable hours for services. When we write grants for foundations, or we provide or we do fundraisers like this upcoming August 30th, we have a flatbread fundraiser. And that'll be 4 to 9 p.m., by the way, if anybody'd like to join us.
If you're going to be in Bahia, that's August when?
August 30th. At Flatbread from 4 to 9 p.m. But, like all nonprofits, what we receive for our services is not quite enough. And so we always have to supplement what we do. And we do that by grant writing and by special event fundraising. The interesting thing about ARC, historically speaking, has been that it's done a wonderful job in terms of its client cares, but it hasn't reached out into the community and expanded its kind of hey, look at us, who here we are, who are
ARC?
we, who's ARC? I get a lot of that. So what does ARC do? And where are you guys? Are you new to Maui? Welcome,
On that note, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Rob Lane of ARC of Maui.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and find out what they're doing to help those with needs in our community. And this afternoon we've started off the show talking with Rob Lane, who's the CEO of ARC of Maui. And we were talking a little bit about how you can be around for so many years and nobody knows who you are until you need them.
Right.
But if you know someone, or if you know a family that has had services provided by ARC, it's the greatest place in the world.
That's right. ARC has been a godsend to the folks that have received services through ARC over the decades. It really is. Some of the phone calls that I've had and stop-ins from family members that have had their sons and daughters and brothers and sisters cared for at ARC over the years, whether it be in our residential homes or, through our day programs, you can absolutely tell that it's made not only a life-changing difference for the clients, but for the entire family. And it does become a family. I mean, that's the one thing that you can always tell the quality of a program. And I've operated other programs similar to ARC over the last 20 years, and that's the one litmus test that I always look at is, how our family members gauging, or what are they saying, how do they feel? And the first thing that anybody, has said to me when I've met them is just how much ARC has meant to them and their families, and the way that they've cared for their family members. So,
is there a fixed term to how long you can work with a client?
There isn't.
There isn't.
No,
okay.
In fact, some of our clients that have been in our residential homes, I mean, they've been there for over 20 years. So, and the most important thing there to identify as well is that, we feel as if it's their home, and we're there to provide services to them in their home. So we don't, we look at it from that perspective, that we're there making sure we provide services, but that they are at home, and that we always have to keep that in mind, because otherwise it gets a little distorted as to who's the primary person
right.
here, and it's always the client first.
Client.
So.
Yeah. Now, the homes, are they in basically residential areas mostly?
Yep, they absolutely are, and that's one of the mandates of residential care, is that they should be in the community, and they should, the community they should be embraced by the community ideally. Unfortunately, I've seen areas where I've managed group homes in the past where they haven't been that embraced, but thankfully ARC doesn't have that problem. Our group homes have been wholly embraced by the communities, and we have 2 new group homes. So ARC owns 6 homes, and our 2 new group homes, one is in Waihu, which is soon to be licensed. We're just waiting for the Department of Health to give us our official license. And that home, the uniqueness of that is that it was specifically built so that it could provide accessibility to individuals with mobility issues. And so the doors are extra wide, and the bathroom is handicap accessible. The bedrooms are large so that there's no problem with having a wheelchair and a Hoyer lift, which a Hoyer lift is something you can bring somebody from their wheelchair to their bed and vice versa. So there's ample space everywhere, and it was custom designed to make sure that everything was going to accommodate folks with any mobility issues. And that's also the property that
and it's a gorgeous looking house.
It is. It's beautiful, and on an acre of property, it's really going to be just another wonderful addition to the community, and for the 4 folks that are living there, as well as having the opportunity for the rest of our clients to come out and utilize that property.
The ones who live there, do they, if they're able, do they do their cooking and things?
Yep, absolutely. So all of our clients, have obviously a range of varying abilities, but they participate in their own meal preparation, and everything from shopping to prepping food to the actual cooking, and that goes back to making sure that this is their life experience. And we're not, one of the biggest things I try to instill in our staff, especially newer staff coming in, is that this isn't a nursing home facility, and nothing against nursing homes, believe me, but the level of care, our clients have the abilities to do.
They can be fairly independent.
Right, absolutely.
Is what your goal is.
Right, and so we want to make sure we never diminish that. We want to have our clients live their lives to the fullest extent possible, and just be there to help assist them along the way. So that's what we do. And our home on Molokai is such an incredible endeavor, because it is the very first and only group home on the island of Molokai. And its intent was just that, to provide services, residential services, to individuals with developmental disabilities on the island. And it took a long time and, a lot of bureaucracy, obviously, to get the process started and finalized. But wow, what an absolutely beautiful home. And what a great accomplishment for everybody that was involved with that process. And it was before my time, so I can say that. I didn't have anything to do with it, but...
Were you able to buy that home, or do you always have to build?
Right. No, well, it was actually built from the ground up with a combination of funds, but HUD was involved. And then a combination of county grants and state funding as well as HUD funding. So currently we have 3 clients that are in the home, and we have 2 openings there that are available for 2 new clients, and we're actively pursuing those folks. And our priority has been to just make sure that we're any clients or family members from Molokai that would have need. That's been our main focus. But now that we've been open for a period of time, we're opening it up to Maui County and even beyond that within the state. But it's been the 3 guys that are there. It's been just a transformative experience for them.
I'll bet. So you've got 4 homes here on Maui Island,
right,
and the one on Molokai. So you've got a total of 5.
Nope. Right, and then our fifth on Maui will be our
the
new one. Yep.
Okay.
So 6 total.
Wow.
Right. So we're really we've got quite our hands full with them.
You do.
But,
and
it's been great.
We're at the end of our half hour. I hate to say that because it seems like there's so much more we could say, but you're doing a great job, and I'm sure that, as you said, the parents appreciate what's going on, and the staff that you've got must be exceptional.
Well, I just have to say, our staff, that's really where the magic happens. We couldn't do, with all the bells and whistles and new buildings and anything and everything else, none of it means anything without great staff. And ARC has been blessed with just having some of the finest people I've ever met anywhere in my life. So it's a pleasure for me and a privilege to work with them on a daily basis. And that's just that's where it all happens. So
right.
Well,
thank you for joining us today, and the best to you and your family.
Oh, thank you very much.
We're happy to have you here on Maui.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a very rewarding experience for you to be a part of this. The organization was here, and you just were the topping on the cake.
Oh, well, it's fun to be here. It's my pleasure, and thanks for inviting us in.
You're welcome. You're welcome, and we'll have you back on again one of these days. When you've got something coming up that you want to talk about beyond the normal. We can certainly talk about that, but
sure.
I'm sure as you get things started with your micro enterprise
right, absolutely.
Program, we maybe can have some samples of what's going on.
Yeah.
For anybody who wants a piñata, stop by Las Piñatas on Dairy Road. Yeah.
Or Ben Franklin.
Or Ben Franklin. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
All right.
That's great. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Susie.
Okay, we'll see you later. And we're going to switch gears here, and we're going to join with, hello. She's always so helpful. We got Frances Duberstein here, who is the development coordinator for Aloha House, Inc., specifically Malama Family Recovery Center.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Wasn't that interesting finding out about ARC?
Yeah, I love hearing about that, and we do have such caring people on this island, and so we are very lucky to have that organization and Rob here as the executive director.
Yeah, pretty neat. And sometimes we see these names of organizations in lists, but we don't get past that. And so it's nice to have somebody new who comes on the show and tells us what you're all about.
Yes, I feel much, much more informed than I was before. So, thank you.
Frances, what have you got going on that we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so For Malama Family Recovery Center, for those who don't know, it's also known as Malama na Makua Akeki. It's the only women's-specific addiction treatment center on Maui, substance abuse and addiction treatment center. And it's also the only place where young children and infants can live with their mothers while they are in the treatment process. We have both therapeutic living and sober living facilities. And so women do not have to give up their children in order to get healthy. That's a huge part of why we are unique. Like I said, the only place on Maui like that. And we are having a big fundraiser in October called Big Waves, Big Dreams.
You know, when you first said I'm going to promote our October fundraiser, I'm going, wait a minute, it's only June.
Yeah.
But when I was reading the information on it, I see why you're ready to talk about it now.
Yeah. So it's so exciting. Yeah, it's a little bit early, but you can never get too much promotion.
Well, and I think the ideas of what you're going to be doing here, what you're going to be showing.
Yeah.
It's a showcase.
So basically what it is it's joining us for a private unveiling of artists' creations inspired by the Big Waves, Big Dreams theme, and it's going to be held at the epic Jaws House property, formerly owned by famed waterman and big wave surfer Laird Hamilton in Haiku, Palvela.
That's worth going to just to see that.
Yeah, that is epic. Doesn't begin to describe it. It is just an amazing property and beautiful views and lush tropical views, as we say on our informational letter. And it really just ties in so well with Malama because, as corny as it can sound, I guess, you see the big giant waves and you think, oh, no one can do that. No one can conquer that. Well, there's people who feel like they can't conquer their addictions. And people can. They can do it. And they can achieve the unachievable, as some of them say. And we are so excited to involve the artist community here on Maui, which everyone knows is just so healthy and so vibrant. So we're going to be inviting artists to submit 2D and 3D pieces of art inspired by that theme, but their own personal interpretation. So it doesn't have to be a picture of a wave or a painting or a sculpture. It can be what their interpretation is. And then at the event is the unveiling of these pieces. And we'll have a panel of judges that chooses winners in both the adult category and the youth category. And then cash prizes will be awarded. But you have to come to the event to see these pieces. And then the money raised at the event will go towards Malama Family Recovery Center, specifically really our early learning center, where we're caring for the client's children, giving them developmental screenings, as well as our Baby Safe program, which is where we're working with women who are pregnant and dealing with substance issues and getting them clean and sober so they can give birth to healthy babies. So it all really does tie in together, and I know that there's a lot of art shows on Maui, but I think this one is going to be extremely unique, and the fact that it's raising funds for such an important cause makes it very unique.
And it's a first.
It's a first one. Yeah.
Is this the first annual?
We'll
see.
Yet to be seen.
On that note, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back, and we are talking big waves, big dreams. We're talking with Frances Duberstein, the development coordinator for Malama Family Recovery Center, and this exciting new, you think when you talk about fundraisers, how can they be new and different? We've been doing fundraisers forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
In different styles, shapes, places, whatever. But this one, this is just too cool. Was this dreamed up by a committee?
Well, the story behind it is that for many years, Malama Family Recovery Center partner agency, Maui Youth and Family Services, had an event called Growing Dreams, which was a floral event, a floral design extravaganza.
Right.
Then those two agencies merged with Aloha House, and then last year we did Growing Dreams for Malama, because of the three agencies, it was the one most in need of funds, and that event had been done, and so we said, let's try maybe something a little bit different, and we were able to secure the Laird Hamilton's former property, the Jaws House property. And so we were just thinking, is there a way to incorporate that word dreams into it? And, big waves. And I think we were sitting at a meeting and someone said, big waves, big dreams. And we said, that's it. That's what we're going to call it. And then I was talking to someone a woman named Rochelle Mendoza, who is our event chair. And she works for On Maui magazine, and she has her hands in almost every event on this island. She's so generous. And we were chatting, and we were talking about this idea of where it's going to be, and the big waves and the big dreams. And she really came up with this idea. Well, let's ask people to submit artwork, inspired by that theme, and have the event be the grand unveiling. And so that's how it came together. So it took a few steps. And like I said, we do realize there's a lot of art shows on this island, but I think this one is definitely unique.
Well, I think the whole concept where you're talking about use your own personal interpretation. What does big waves, big dreams mean to you?
Exactly.
And I think now, would an artist sell their item if someone wants to buy it?
So what we are thinking is that so you pay to enter the art contest, there's an entry fee, and that's how we're generating the cash prizes, so that none of the money from the ticket prices which is going to Malama, goes into that. So if an artist submits a piece and they are willing to let us auction it off at the event, we would love that. If they're willing to let us auction it off and have a percentage of the proceeds go to us, we would love that. And if they say they want to enter it and they just want to keep it, we're fine with that too. But so we'll see what happens. But yes, there is very much the possibility that we could have some just amazing pieces of artwork get submitted that do double duty, that are part of the art contest, but also end up in our auction and raising much needed funds for Malama.
Right. Now, you talked about the 2D and the 3D submissions, but I see you could also inviting people to submit jewelry.
Yeah, and that's art.
Sure.
Very much art, and that's a thing that almost anyone can do. And talk about your own personal interpretation when you go into jewelry. And so we thought, why that let's invite people to submit jewelry as well. So yes, there'll be jewelry there, and I'm hoping that people who submit jewelry will be willing to let us auction off their pieces, because people love to get unique and one of a kind. This is gonna be one of a kind pieces that people can get their hands on.
That's true. Yeah, it's special.
Mm-hmm.
Very special. Now, early on, you talked a little bit, mentioned as one of your programs, the Baby Safe program. Can you give us a little more insight into that program?
Sure. So it stands for, the SAFE part stands for Substance Abuse Free Environment. And it's actually how Malama first started as an organization back in the early 90s. There was a small group who was alarmed by the number of pregnant women who were using and abusing drugs and alcohol, and so they started this outreach program where they physically went to where they were and were like, okay, here, we can get you help. We can get you clean. We can get you treatment. And then it, changed over the years and became Malama Family Recovery Center, and Baby Safe was actually became a statewide program, and Malama here on Maui was administering it here in Maui. And then in about 2009, even though it was shown to be very promising and effective program, all the funding was cut for Baby Safe across the state.
Ouch.
So we had to get rid of it, and then, which was devastating, thanks to a very generous grant from the HMSA Foundation in 2012 of about $22,000, that allowed us to bring Baby Safe back. And since then, we've been relying on grants, the Women's Fund, the March of Dimes Foundation, to keep this program going. And the idea is that you want to get women into treatment as soon as possible, get them the prenatal care, teach them about the effects of drug and alcohol use while they're pregnant, and then go to them with them to their pre-delivery tours at the hospital, and then be there with them. A lot of the women we treat, they've burned all their bridges. They don't, and so our staff members are the ones that will be there when they give birth, and then continuing with them, providing the support that they need as new mothers in the recovery process, and showing them, okay, here's how you can deal with this issue or that issue, and we test to see if a child is showing signs of exposure to drugs or alcohol during pregnancy, and if they are, okay, here's organizations on the island that can help mitigate, do therapies and things that can mitigate those effects, and then what to expect in the long term, and activities that the moms can do with their kids to try and deal with that.
Interesting. Now, how far will you go with this? I mean, is it a 6-month program, a year?
The Baby Safe program,
or does it transition into something else?
Well, a lot of times what happens is they will enter our what's called therapeutic living program facility, and then the amount of time that they can stay there, it depends on the client, but it can be, it's usually between 4 and 6 months that they're living in that facility. And then we have what's called the sober living program, that's like a step down program, and then there's outpatient services as well. So clients can be receiving services for more than a year, because addiction is not a quick fix by any means.
Right.
So just because a woman comes to us and she's pregnant and she gives birth, it's not like we say, okay, see you later. It's not, the case management, the support continues as long as they can, stay living with us, and then continuing with the outpatient services.
Now, do they need to show that they are working on the system? I mean, working with the system, that they are getting clean and sober as they go through it? Or do they get kicked out if they slip backwards?
Well, the thing is, because there is such a long waiting list, well, it's not long, but there's a waiting list for our therapeutic living program facility. And clients do need to they do get tested to make sure they're not using, and we don't like to say kicked out, because that's the last thing you want to do is turn your back on them.
Right.
But if they're not abiding by the rules, they do have to leave with the full understanding. If you are ready to get clean and sober, then you can come back to us, call us. But we have clients who are getting help through outpatient services. Right. And it sort of, we might not, the last thing we want to do, if a woman tells us she wants help, she's not 100% ready to stop using, she probably won't be able to live at our facility. But our Baby Safe coordinator, Megan, which she is the most sweet, kind girl in the world, she'll continue meeting with us. She'll go out in the community and meet these women wherever they are, because it's about being non-judgmental.
Right.
Yes, we want them to stop using as soon as possible, if not, right this second. But sometimes there's health issue. You gotta do it in a safe way. But yes, the women do have to, if they're going to live with us, they do have to be
right. So if they're living there and they fall back a step back, they can continue with the program and may be invited back in at some point down the future where they see that there's a real want
Absolutely.
change.
Because, and again, with addiction, relapse is common.
Right.
But if they know that there's a place they can come to for support, then that makes all the difference in the world. And we also have clients who, graduate or finish our programs, and they'll call our counselors because they're having maybe a bad day and or they're feeling like they're getting tempted, and our counselors will go out of their way to talk to them or meet with them, because that's just how much they care.
Right. And that continues on.
Yeah, so it's not I'm not saying in a formal process it does,
Right.
but there are outpatient treatment can continue, but the staff at Malama really becomes the Ohana, the new Ohana, sober support Ohana for these women. So they are always welcome to come back if they need extra help.
So now when they're living at the facility, they're not just there. They're taking classes. They're learning skills.
Yep.
Right?
They're in individual and family counseling, group counseling, substance abuse treatment. They're doing life skills classes, learning about domestic violence, if that's maybe an issue, case management. So figuring out, making sure that when they do leave, where are they going to live? Is it going to be a place where they're surrounded, their old surroundings? Well, that's not good. That's going to be too much of a temptation. So connecting them with resources in the community when it comes to child care or getting jobs or health care. Also, there's women who have lost custody of their children, or they're going to lose custody, and we will facilitate the reunification process. So it's not just hanging out. It's they stay very busy. But what's really neat is we have an early learning center there at our facility where the kids are, they're getting cared for and they're safe, but they're getting these developmental screenings, and our child care provider is working with the moms on parenting training. There's a lot of that. So they are going through a lot of activities.
Right. And all with a focus towards the future and how this can help them stay clean and sober.
Absolutely, because it's about the long term, and it's a long battle. But when you need to learn those skills and how you are going to deal with it when that situation arises.
Right. Now, in the living facility, I think I saw some place where they can have, and I think you mentioned it earlier too, they can have one or two of their children with them. In some cases, that's not all the children they have,
Yes.
but there may be the youngest ones or something that would stay with them.
Yes.
And that helps in the process, I would think.
Absolutely. Well, there's some women who say, I won't go to treatment because I don't want to be away from my children. So you're removing that barrier to treatment. And it's beneficial for the women because, like I said, they're getting this parenting training, and they're developing or reestablishing relationships in a safe, calm, soothing place as opposed to where they're coming from. But the children are getting, they're being removed from usually very chaotic and not so nice environments. So it's just putting the women with their children in this new environment. And it does, having them there, it's part of the recovery process is rebuilding those relationships. And if you can physically do it, I mean, if you're a mother and your child is very, very young, that physical contact, that physical interaction is so important. And so yes, having the children there on site is huge. But if someone's getting treatment through our outpatient programs, they can bring their children with them to Malama, and then their children will be looked after in the early learning center. It's free child care for our clients.
I see.
That's one reason we do fundraisers. But so that's not a reason for someone to say, oh, I can't go to my treatment session today. I have to watch my kid.
Right.
No, your kid can come and stay in our early learning center with our child care providers while you're in the treatment sessions, so that you don't feel like that's a reason not to come in.
Right. So when we talk about young children, what age group are we looking at?
In terms of, so our early learning center is best for like 5 or 6 and younger, but we absolutely make exceptions for older children as needed.
Okay.
But when you're doing these developmental screenings, the earlier the better. So the majority of our clients, when their children are there in the early learning center, it's 5 or 6 or younger. And babies.
You often hear people say that they went through this terrible experience as a child with their parents and
Yes, I'm nodding my head. You can't see it, but yes, I'm nodding my head.
with mom drinking and doing drugs and so on and so forth. I see this with the child being with mom, turning that whole page around so that 20 years later down the road, that child is saying, we had some issues, but there was this great place that we went to that we learned how to live as family, mom,
Yeah.
and how to get along and how to do things together, and it helped mom, it helped us, and I think we're all better for it.
Yeah, you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head, because it is about ending that cycle. Almost 100% of our clients have been through some traumatic experience, whether it's sexual abuse, physical abuse, domestic violence. Something happened that is contributing to their drug and alcohol use, and a lot of times it's abuse when they were kids. So how do you stop that? Well, you get the women better and get so that they can be better parents, and then their children can have a better solid environment growing up, and the cycle can stop.
Right. That's the end of the cycle. That's what we want. So while we got to go here pretty quick, Jaws House, Big Waves, Big Dreams, coming up October 15th. For more information, call.
You can call me at 808-579-8414, extension 8102, or visit malamafamilyrecovery.org.
Come and check out some artwork that people have done with their own interpretation of what Big Waves, Big Dreams means to them.
Yes, we're very excited.
Maybe you'll see something there that is exactly what you were thinking, but you didn't have the talent to do it.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, Frances,
Thank
for
you,
being with
Susie.
us. And good luck on the fundraiser. I think that sounds like a great idea.
Thank you so much for letting us talk about it here today.
You got it. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies. Today we visited with Frances Duberstein of Malama Family Recovery Center and talked about their big new fundraiser they've got coming up in October. Give her a call at 579-8414, extension 8102. We also talked with Rob Lane, who's the CEO of Arc of Maui, and you can give them a call at 242-5781 to find out more about their programs. Ooh, I like that music. No, we're not going to listen to it. We got things to do. Anyway, next week we'll be back with 2 more member agencies to talk about what they're doing to make Maui the best it can be for all of our citizens. We want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week right here on Wednesday at noon on KAOI Radio, 1110 AM, 96.7 FM, and 96.5 FM on the west side, when we'll feature representatives of 2 other member agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. And I just want to send an extra shout out to Paul and the folks at Pacific Source. Thanks, Paul, for your support. And thank you all for joining us today. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.